Hey, folks, you're here for another episode of the Musical Moments with the HBC Collective, and I have a great friend and colleague with me today, Dr. Gregory Drane from Penn State University. How you doing, Greg?
Dr. Earvin, thank you so much for having me on today. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, no problem, man. A lot of people are probably wondering why you got Penn State on here. There's the HBC Collective, but Dr. Drane and I go pretty far back, and I happen to know that he is a graduate of an HBCU, Bethune-Cookman College, probably at the time, but now Bethune-Cookman University. And hey, I want you to take a minute to introduce yourself to the HBCU Collective and tell us how the HBCU experience at Bethune-Cookman College really shaped who you are today.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, of course, I'm from Miami, Florida. I went to Miami Norland High School under the direction of Mr. Kenneth Talbert, great influential band director and leader. And then I went on to Bethune-Cookman University. Well, like you said, college at the time, where many of my friends went to Florida A&M. So there was always that rivalry and things like that going on.
Yeah.
But I graduated from Bethune-Cookman, and then I went to Penn State to get my master's degree. Got my master's and ended up becoming the assistant director at Penn State. So I was assistant director for 10 years. And now I am the head director of the Penn State Marching Blue Band. That's our moniker, the Blue Band. And this is my 7th season with them. So that's kind of my story in my journey, if you will, on paper. But as you can imagine, there's many stories that lies in between there. But man, I have to tell you my HBCU experience, coming from an HBCU and then going to what everyone calls a PWI. I'll tell you, it was a culture shock at first, just in terms of the role of the band, in the college community. It was somewhat different, if you will, there. But I was able to take my HBCU experiences, and kind of also my experiences, at Penn State, and take the best of both worlds and what we have representative of the Blue Band now. So that's kind of a little bit about my story, but yeah, thanks for letting me share.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to have you on a little later, hopefully with some of your colleagues who experienced the same type things. We have to get you on one of our monthly webinars, man. I think that'd be great. Hey man, I know for a fact you had to learn a lot of different things coming from Bethune-Cookman and being able to integrate your creativity into what historically has been the Penn State Blue Band. How was it learning more about the core style of marching band versus what you were doing at Bethune-Cookman and what you may have taught in K through 12 when you were working it that way? How did you learn it? What moved you to learn more and be more creative and especially be a part of marching arts as it's evolved?
Yeah, that's a great question. But I'll tell you what, coming to a Big Ten band where we are traditional. It's a traditional style step that we use. If you will, sprinkled in some core style elements, but I think it comes from the traditional style. So therefore, when I got here, I was actually shocked at how many similarities the Big Ten bands have with H. But there were a lot more similarities than there actually were differences. And as you've seen now, as all bands have evolved, where they pull from traditional and core style, no matter if they're HBCU band or a predominantly white university. So that's kind of the trend that I have been seeing. But as far as my education and learning some of these things, it was just like any other band director. You get out there, you see what's going on in the field, you begin to learn, you begin to adapt, pulling in some of the things that you see from other places. And then for me, integrating myself, my creativity, my influences and things like that, which kind of in some ways end up creating your own unique style, if you will. So
Man,
it's kind of, yeah.
That's good stuff right there, man. That's good stuff. I want you to take these last 15 seconds and give an encouraging or an inspirational word to these HBCU students, HBCU directors out there, and those that support HBCUs and those that are in the HBCU collective on our Facebook group. Tell them something that Greg Drane would leave with them today.
The biggest thing is, when I coming from an HBCU and hearing, so many things, from the outside world, I would say I did not value my HBCU education early on as much as I do now. Recognizing the things that I was taught, when I first got out, it was oh, I don't know this, I don't know this, but they learned this at that school. That's okay, because there were things that I learned at Bethune-Cookman that others didn't learn.
Yeah.
And the things that we get from the HBCU experience, I think oftentimes is undervalued. And I'll be very honest, I believe that is one of the biggest influences on my success today. Being at an HBCU, I learned how to get it done. Plain and simple. You might not have all the resources, that's okay. You got to get it done. And so that's the one thing that I want everyone to take away from this is don't undervalue the experience and the learning that you are receiving at an HBCU. And now as we begin to see so many reaching out and trying to integrate diversities into their university, they are now going to the HBCUs because we know the education that students receive there.
Well, folks, you have heard it first from Dr. Greg Drane. Get it done. Value what you got at your HBCUs and let that transcend what you do later on in life when you wherever you work, whether it be at a PWI, whether it be in corporate America, or whether it be at one of our beloved HBCUs. Get it done. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Dr. Drane, for coming in and helping us today. We look forward to having that 1 hour long with you sometime in early 2022.
You let me know when you're ready. Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem. Next week, folks, we'll see you on the HBCU Collective's Musical Moments.